Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maria. If you watch this video and you enjoy it, don't be shy, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for any future videos on narcissistic abuse recovery and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Today we are going to get into one of my favorite topics and a very beneficial one, and that is our inner child. So, as we go through trauma therapy, we learn what an inner child is, right? But let's just say we're in the beginning stages of learning that we even went through trauma, or narcissistic abuse, bullying, whatever it may be. So what an inner child is we all have one. So it is as basic as the thought of the child that we were when we were younger lives inside of us as we are adults. So this child is carrying whatever it was that he or she went through when they were a child, whether that be at the age of 5, at 10, whatever that is. What that child, what you felt when you were that age still lives inside of you. So I have tons of videos on healing, but in these healing videos, I tell you about something called a core wound. So when we go through trauma, we have wounds inside of us, and that's why when different things poke at us, they remind us of things that happened to us in the past, and they send us into emotional flashbacks, right? Like, somebody shamed me, and it reminds me of a time when I was in high school and I got shamed by my mom or my dad or my teacher or my bully, and it brings us into an emotional flashback into that time. So we have these wounds inside, and sometimes people like narcissists can poke at these wounds. So these are called core wounds, and this could be, a wound of abandonment. If you deal with, being abandoned, whether that is emotional abandonment, actual, physical abandonment, whatever it might be, you may have a core wound of abandonment. Say you were shamed, you were embarrassed, you may have a core wound of embarrassment. So anytime someone pushes your buttons, they're pushing that raw, open wound. Well, where does that wound exist? That wound exists within your inner child. So an easy way that I explain what an inner child is to my clients, it helps to visualize exactly what an inner child looks like inside of you. So an inner child is a separate entity inside of you, a smaller version, the younger version of you. You are now the adult, right? So when you were younger, if whatever happened with your mom, your dad, your caretakers, whoever it may have been, that did not provide you with the validation that you needed, with the security, the sense of security that you needed, the attention that you needed, whatever it may be, because you are now the adult, you are able to give whatever it is that they did not give you. You are able to actually give that to your younger self, to your inner child. When you give your inner child these things, you are fulfilling all of the things that they are hurt by that they were hurt by when they were younger. So these core wounds, this abandonment, to let your inner child understand that you are now the adult in charge and in control of them. You are going to be able to parent them the way that someone else did not. The point of doing inner child work is to heal the inner wounds that the child is actually feeling. So this allows, and the best way I can explain it, the way that gives me an amazing visual is the more you feed into that inner child and you help them to heal and be more secure, be able to trust you as a person, that inner child grows. So I think of it as the inner child grows and you become one person. you become a whole individual. So to try to figure out what it is that your inner child is going through, you can think about when someone does something to you, when someone says something to you, when they call you, when they text you, and it really sets you off. You're not able to respond to them in a level-headed, normal way, but you're really emotionally charged. That might be because they have, whether they know it or not, poked at something that your inner child is struggling with, one of your core wounds. That is a good place to know where to start in healing your inner child. So pay attention to what emotionally charges you. Another way that I explain taking a look at the inner child and really getting close to who they are as an individual and what they need is by thinking of somebody standing next to you. Doesn't matter who they are. Let's just say you're clear, your body is clear, and that person next to you, this imaginary person, is looking inside of you, and they see this inner child inside. To sit still and really imagine this and what they see. Ask this person next to you, what do you see? This inner child might be sad. He or she might be lonely. They might need a hug. They might be hungry. They might be nervous, anxious, excited. Whatever it is that you felt when you were a child that is not healed yet is what your inner child is going to be screaming out for. That's what they need you to replace. So if you think about somebody standing next to you and looking in at your inner child, it might help you to connect and understand that they are a person who needs that attention from you, who is now an adult. So some other things that may be valuable for you to get in touch with your inner child is to look at some old photos of yourself. It could be as simple as that. If that's triggering because you had, a really, really tough childhood, that's okay. There are other things you can do too. Meditate on the kind of feelings you had when you were a child. What are some things that happen? And this might be something that you would benefit from working with an actual psychologist with, doing that reparenting of your inner child. If you're really going to look back and dive into the feelings that you actually had or the actual traumatic events, that might be good to do with somebody that has that kind of background. But another thing that's really beneficial to connect with your inner child is to write them a letter. I know when I was at the beginning of my healing journey, my coach suggested that I write my inner child a letter, so I did, and it was an apology letter. And basically, I apologized to my inner child for all the ways that she felt and for the things that other people did and for the fact that she did not feel protected, she did not feel secure when she was being bullied or being hurt or whatever it may be. And just to apologize. Like I said, you are now the adult, so you're in charge and you can heal all of these wounds that happened to you when you were younger just by paying attention to your inner child. So I just want to leave you with this. As you are doing the work with your inner child, which is really beneficial, and I really suggest that you take the time to do this, journal about it, really look at it, see what works with you. It is going to make you feel better. But as you do this work, I just, suggest that you acknowledge that there are wounds, that there is an inner child, that you're not crazy for talking to him or her. And this is work that's really going to benefit you. And then lastly, be patient. It's not easy to realize one day that you have this child living inside of you that's hurt with all these wounds, okay? So to acknowledge that this actually happened to you, trauma happened to you, it's living inside of your body, it's coming out as anxiety, it's coming out as anger, as resentment, as fear, and it's time to take a look at it and to be patient with yourself, be compassionate with yourself, watch the words you tell yourself, be careful with how you're talking to yourself as you're going through the healing journey. You are in charge of yourself, you are in charge of your healing journey, and you are in charge of this child that's hurt living inside of you. I really hope you got something out of this message today. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for any future videos on narcissistic abuse recovery and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And as always, I wish you all the love in the world.